we are considering triangle EFD. This is the triangle EFD. So here is B and here is A. We are applying Pythagoras theorem to this triangle. If we apply Pythagoras theorem, then this is the hypotenuse side and these are the adjacent sides. So what will be the formula? FD square, by applying Pythagoras theorem, FD square is equal to square of the other two sides, sum of squares of other two sides, ED square plus EF square. Therefore it becomes, what is FD square? FD square means B square is equal to A square plus A square. It becomes B square is equal to A square plus A square is 2A square, 2A square, or that implies B is equal to square root of 2 into A. Am I right? This one you have got. I'll tell you where you're going to substitute all these. So that was one triangle which we considered. Next triangle which we are considering is triangle AFD. So this triangle, it is this way, A, F and D, where this is C, this is B and this one is A. So from triangle AFD, we will consider AF square is equal to, from, it's important that you mention all these, AFD, what is it? AF square is equal to FD square plus AD square. So what is AF square? AF square is C. C square is equal to FD square is B square plus A square. Now you know the value for B square. B square is 2A square. So C square is equal to 2A square plus A square, which is equal to 3A square. Therefore that implies C is equal to square root of 3 into A. You have got C is equal to square root of 3 into A. Now next is, see what is C here? It is diagonally from this to this, isn't it? Because the four spheres are touching each other. It is this way. This is body centered. Four spheres are touching each other and we said from here diagonally we have taken it as C. So just imagine here how many R's are involved. How many R's here? 1, 2, 3 and 4. That means 4 radius are involved between these. So one of the body centered one and the other two of these two. Say this, if this is body centered one, R plus R, 2R, plus 1, 3R, plus 1, 4R, till here. Okay, diagonally. Therefore, as C is equal to 4 times the radius, as C is equal to 4R, we can write therefore, or as you have written, no? So as C is equal to 4R, 3A square is equal to 4R. 3A square is equal to 4R. Otherwise, you can also write root 3A is equal to 4R directly. Square root of 3A is equal to 4R. Therefore, A is equal to 4R by root 3. Hope you have got what I mean to say and what I'm explaining. So A value you have got it as 4R by root 3. Now what is R there? R is nothing but radius Now what will be the volume? You got A. Therefore, volume of the cube is equal to A cube is equal to this one, 4 by root 3 r whole cube. Understood? So you have got volume of the cube. Next, what should we get? We must know what is the volume of or volume occupied by 2 atoms. Next, I'll erase this. Make a note of it and practice. In BCC, that is body centered cube, there are 2 atoms. There are 2 atoms and the volume occupied is equal to so 2 atoms will occupy a particular volume. What is the volume of the cube? 4 by 3 pi r cube. So 2 into 4 by 3 pi r cube. Hope this is also clear. Now substitute in the formula, that is packing efficiency is equal to volume occupied by 2 atoms whole divided by volume of the cube into 100 So volume occupied by 2 atoms, it is 2 into 4 by 3 pi r cube, 2 into 4 by 3 pi r cube, or you can write 8 by 3 pi r cube also, whole divided by A cube. Volume of the cube, it is 4 by root 3 r whole cube. So r cube and r cube get cancelled here. Then rest of the things substitute. 3.14 for pi into 100. Do not forget this, into 100. You will get it approximately as 68%, which is the packing efficiency of body centered cube. What does that tell you? It is telling you that compared to simple cube, the efficiency of packing is more in body centered cube. So what did we do first? First, we drew the diagram for body centered cube. Show the central atom here, body centered atom. Body centered atom is touching the other 2 spheres here, isn't it? The sphere and the sphere here. And then you have to show that diagonally they touch each other, which is taken as C. The edge length here is A and the other one is B. First you consider triangle EFD, from which you get B square is equal to A square plus A square. You get value for B. Then you consider triangle AF and D. From a triangle AFD you get C square is equal to B square plus A square, where you get the value for C. Using these and considering the radius, so C is equal to 4 times the radius of the spheres. C is equal to 4r. Substitute root 3a is equal to 4r and arrive at the expression for A. Once you get A, you know that volume of cube is A cube. A cube, you know how you can calculate cube it. Then how many number of atoms are present in that cube? It is 2 atoms. Take those 2 atoms and multiply by volume of cube formula, 4 by 3 pi r cube. Substitute it in the formula for packing efficiency and you get the packing efficiency for body centered cube as 68%. Now we will see the next packing efficiency, that is for face centered cube. you can write packing efficiency in FCC or face center cube. First, what you have to do, it's actually very easy. You need to just know how to, which triangle to consider and how to arrive at values of A. Then it will be very easy for you. First, draw the diagram for face center cube. Here, the atoms that you need to mention are one atom here, one more at the corner, and one more face atom. I'll just shade it with blue, which means it is face center atom. Now let us name it A, B, C, D, E, F, G and H. We have named the corners of the unit cell. This is the diagonal arrangement here. First, what should we do? For all the derivations, you will be mentioning let the edge length be A and the radius of the sphere be R. Then you will start deriving. Let the edge length of the cube be A and the radius of the sphere be R, and the radius of the sphere be R. Now from triangle, we'll consider the triangle ABC. Since I have marked the diagonal here, ABC we are considering. If you consider ABC, then this will be B. The diagonal length will be B. From triangle ABC, what do you have? ABC, AC square is equal to AB square plus BC square. So you know that these edges are taken as A, edge lengths. B square is equal to A square plus A square. Again same, B square is equal to 2A square, or that implies B is equal to square root of 2 into A. Hope you know how to take the square root, isn't it? So after you get it, as the spheres touch each other diagonally, here as the spheres touch each other diagonally, what is it? We know that R is the radius of the sphere, therefore B becomes, you see now, this is half R, 1 R plus here total diameter, so that means 2R, R plus R. Here one more half plus R, so total 4R. You understand how 4R? So since spheres touch each other diagonally, B is equal to 4R. B is equal to 4R. Therefore, now equate 4R is equal to square root of 2 into A, or A is equal to, now A is equal to 4R by root 2. Otherwise, can I write it as A is equal to, here 2 2's are 4. Again 1 2 I can write it as square root of 2 into square root of 2. So 1 square root cancels, and so 2 root 2r remains. A is equal to 2 into root 2r. You have got A now. Therefore, next step is you have to write volume of the cube. Therefore, volume of the cube A cube is equal to 2 into root 2 r whole cube. Volume of the cube you have got. Next, I'll erase these. Next, you will mention that face-centered cube contains 4 atoms. Therefore, what do you have? It contains 4 atoms. Therefore, volume occupied by the atoms is equal to, therefore volume occupied by the atoms is equal to 4 into 4 by 3 pi r cube. 4 into 4 by 3 pi r cube. If this is clear, we will have to substitute it in the formula, that is packing efficiency. One question is for sure from these 3: simple cube or body centered cube or face centered cube. For sure, 1 3-mark question will be asked. Packing efficiency is equal to volume occupied by 4 cubes or 4 spheres whole divided by volume of the cube into 100 into 100. Therefore, substitute 4 into 4 by 3 pi r cube. Volume of the cube is 2 into square root of 2r whole cube into 100. You get it as 74%. So this is the packing efficiency of face-centered cubic close packing, 74%. Now you can compare simple cube cubic packing efficiency, body centered packing efficiency and face centered packing efficiency. One more point to be noted: if suppose they ask you face centered cubic close packing, or sometimes they also ask CCP, cubic close packing arrangement, it is same. Okay, you will have to write the same derivation as that for face centered cube. FCC, CCP, same kind of packing efficiency is observed, therefore you will have to write the same derivation. Clear? In simple cube, what was the packing efficiency? 52.4%. In body centered, 68%. In face centered or in CCP, the packing efficiency is 74%. Which one has more efficient? Yes, face centered cubic close packing or cubic close packing structure is said to be more efficient, which has more packing efficiency. They'll ask a question even that way also. Now let us see the calculations of various dimensions related to unit cell. Now we know, we have studied about the packing efficiency, isn't it? Now we will see using the cell dimensions. We know about edge length, we know about the radius, we know different dimensions related to the unit cell. Now using it, how can we calculate the density of the solid, or density of any crystal system is what we will be seeing now. Calculation of density of the unit cell. Generally, when we say density, we know density is mass by volume, isn't it? Density is mass by volume. But since we are calculating it in terms of the dimensions related to unit cell, we have to calculate what is mass of unit cell, what is volume of the unit cell. So we know A is the edge length of the unit cell, right? What is the edge length of the unit cell? We say A is the edge length of the unit cell. Therefore, we got what is the volume there. We were calculating it, isn't it? What is the volume of the unit cell? A cube. Therefore, first, let A be the edge length of the unit cell. Therefore, volume of the unit cell is equal to A cube. We got this part. Now what else should we get? We need mass of the unit cell. Since we are calculating density of the unit cell, we want mass of unit cell divided by volume of unit cell. We have got mass of volume of unit cell as A cube. Now mass of unit cell, if we have to calculate, see, for a whole unit cell, mass of unit cell, what should we calculate if we want the mass of unit cell? In the unit cell, we have to see how many atoms are present. How many atoms are present we want. If suppose it is a simple cube, 8 atoms we say. If 8 atoms are present, we should know what is the mass of each atom. Only then we get to know the mass of unit cell, isn't it? Therefore, mass of unit cell is number of atoms in the unit cell into mass of each atom. Clear? That is, mass of unit cell is equal to number of atoms in the unit cell into mass of each atom. Here, remember this point, that number of atoms in the unit cell is denoted as Z. And mass of each atom as small letter m. Hope you will remember this. Mass of unit cell is equal to Z into m. Now we have got both. But mass of each atom we have told, isn't it? Mass of each atom formula is, again, mass of each atom, small letter m, is equal to molar mass by Avogadro's number. It's capital letter M by Avogadro's number. Small letter m is equal to capital M by Avogadro's number. Now let us substitute it in the formula that we were speaking about. So we have density is equal to mass of the unit cell. What is the mass of unit cell? We said it is number of atoms in the unit cell into mass of each atom. So Z into m by volume of the unit cell is A cube. But since we know mass of each atom is nothing but its molar mass divided by Avogadro's number. Substitute it in the formula. You get it as Z into capital letter M whole divided by A cube into NA. You know what is Avogadro's constant? The value of Avogadro's constant is 6.023 into 10 to the power 23. Therefore, density of the unit cell D is equal to Zm by A cube into Na. If suppose you know all these values of density, number of atoms, molar mass and volume, then you will get to know, you can calculate the Avogadro's constant value. Otherwise you should be knowing the Avogadro's constant value is equal to 6.023 into 10 to the power 23. So by knowing any 4 terms here, the values of any 4 terms, you can calculate the other value. And usually density is measured in kg per meter cube or gram per cm cube also. So numerical problems related to this we will be discussing in the next video. Let's move on to next important topic. Called as imperfections in the solids. Imperfections in the solids. When I say imperfections in the solid, you get an idea that the solids are not perfect. Even if we say that the molecules or atoms or ions are compactly packed, they try to minimize the space and they try to keep in touch with each other so that they get a compact structure. But still, any arrangement, even after going for different types of arrangement, there is possibility and there is chance that any crystal system will show some spaces between them. And this usually arises, or some imperfections or some defects usually we say. When do they get these defects? When there is rapid formation of solids. Sometimes it might have been this way that during the formation of solids, some fast process has taken place. During this, there might have been some imperfections. During the manufacturing defect we say, all those. In this especially, we have 2 main types of defects, defects means imperfections. What are defects? Imperfections in the solids are called as defects. 2 types of defects are point defects and line defects. Point defects and line defects. Do you know what are point defects? Point defects means the defect will be around a particular point. The defect or irregularity we say. The defect or irregularity around a point in the crystal. Whereas line defect means, for example, let me come to point defect. Say there is some arrangement of particles and at a particular point, around the point, if there is some defect, you call it as point defect. Line defect means during the arrangement, if the whole row itself has defect, then you call it as line defect. Line defect is the irregularity seen in the entire row of the crystal system. Clear? These are just the definitions you need to know. We will go further with different types of defects. That is, in this unit, we will be discussing mainly about point defects, that 2 types of point defects. Types of point defects. In point defects, we have stoichiometric defects, non-stoichiometric defects, and again we have one more type of defect called as impurity defect. Stoichiometric defect, non-stoichiometric defect, and impurity defects. Impurity defects. Stoichiometric defects means in this the stoichiometry is not disturbed. Stoichiometry, however, we have studied based on the calculation of a balanced chemical reaction or related to the stoichiometry ratio of the particles present in the solid. Here it means, so it doesn't disturb the stoichiometry. Whereas non-stoichiometric defects, it affects the stoichiometry. Impurity defects, due to presence of some impurity, you see these kind of defects. In stoichiometric defects, since it does not disturb the stoichiometry of the solid, it is also called as thermodynamic defect or intrinsic defect. Thermodynamic defect or intrinsic defect it is called as. Again, under stoichiometric defect, we have vacancy defect and interstitial defect. Under stoichiometric defect, we have vacancy and interstitial defects. Interstitial defects. Name itself is telling you vacancy defect means during the arrangement of particles or in the system or solid, somewhere in between there might be vacant spaces. It might be because the atom has shifted from that place, or it has been removed from that place, or there is missing of some atom during the arrangement. If any atom is missing, then you see a vacancy there. Such defect is called as vacancy defect. Interstitial defects means in such defect, from the normal position, if the atom is occupying some other position, actually the normal arrangement, if it is like this should be the normal arrangement of particles. In this order it has to go. If suppose the atom here which had to be placed is not placed here, instead it is placed somewhere here in the normal arrangement. So this is the normal arrangement. See, there is one extra here. Leaving the normal site, if it occupies some other site, it is called as interstitial site. Such defects are called as interstitial defect. One more point that you have to remember is, if there is vacancy defect, density decreases. Density decreases. And in interstitial defect, there is a possibility that density increases. If suppose a crystal system, when it is formed, somewhere from the other part, if there is arrangement of particles somewhere else, there will be change in the density. Sometimes there is possibility that whole crystal system, within the crystal system, if the interstitial defect is seen, then you cannot see the change in density. That we will study in next classification, that is Schottky defect and Frenkel defect. But these things you need to understand under defects, the general classifications of defects.